Artfight is in 2 months, and I have a lot of redesigns to do. I have an idea for a comic that I've been wanting to make for a while now, and I mean that as in I came up with the idea in my junior year of high school, which is a few years shy of being a decade ago now. I've had many moments where I've tried to actually start the comic, but I always held myself back in some way. I've had thoughts like, I'm not good enough at art yet to start a comic, or I'm not good enough at writing yet to start a comic, or I'm not happy with the designs of my characters enough yet to start a comic. The list goes on, probably forever. And that's the curse of being an artist with a case of perfectionism. Literally nothing I ever make is going to be 100% perfect to me. I could spend the rest of my life working on something or working to get better at art according to my standards, and I still wouldn't be completely satisfied because I will always find something to deem as wrong. And I've only recently matured enough to recognize that about myself. I've also had to learn to, be kinder to myself and actually listen to the limits of my body. I'm not as young as I used to be, and on top of that, I'm not as able-bodied as I used to be. And that's okay. I'm working on it, I promise. I'm making progress. Anyways, back to the topic at hand. While I am mentally ready and comfortable enough in my abilities and limits to start a comic, there are still some issues I'd like to tackle first. The first one being, I meant it when I said I'm not satisfied yet with the designs of my characters.
Bruh.
I know I just went on this whole spiel about being kinder to myself and whatnot, but I do think that this is a specific area where I've grown enough artistically to actually tackle the issue. So, how exactly does Artfight come into play in all of this? The thing is, I usually use Artfight as an excuse to update character sheets or redesign characters entirely. I figured, I'm going to be making these sheets anyway, I have free time, I like making and editing videos, why don't I make a channel documenting my process? That way, it keeps me accountable and focused on my goals, but also, whenever I'm in a downer, bummer town mindset about my art, I can look back at these videos and see the improvement I've made compared to where I started. And also, I thought it'd be fun, which is the most important thing. So, there are two main characters in my comic, Serene and Aanya. They're butch femme, they have a romantic side plot, you know how it is. However, I'm not starting this redesign series with either of them. I'm starting with a side character because I was freaking myself out too much on the design being perfect for the main ones, for reasons I previously stated. So I'm starting with Aanya, and I wanted to show you her previous designs so you have an idea of what I'm basing this all off of. Here they are, and I will say they aren't even terrible designs per se, but for Aanya specifically, I wanted to switch it up. I recently came to the realization that Aanya is different from how I originally characterized her. And that's because I started writing fanfics, AUs, for my own comic that doesn't exist yet. Anyways, the point is, Aanya basically came to me in the vision, and she told me I needed to revamp her personality and desires and general aesthetic, and who am I to deny a beautiful woman, And alright, I've yapped quite enough. If you have any interest in keeping up with the world these characters are from, there's just a couple things you should keep in mind. Magic exists in the world of this comic. Everyone can use magic, but not everyone chooses to. Active magic users have it rough for lore reasons I may or may not get into another video. The comic heavily features a gang called the Syndicate that Serene, one of the main characters that I mentioned earlier, is in, and Aanya, the character I will be redesigning today, is in the gang with him. Alright, let's get into the redesign process. So, right off the get-go, the anatomy is a bit botched. I know, I was nervous. Hitting record on OBS isn't the same as just knowing that Clip Studio is making a time-lapse of your canvas, which is what I have done in the past for commissions and all that, but the vibe is just different when hitting record, and this is the first time I've had my process recorded like this, so I get over it, but yeah. So the design I settle on here at the beginning is basically the design that I'm going to carry through the rest of the video, just with some minor adjustments here and there, which is great for me because it usually takes me a lot longer to settle on an outfit for a character, but I guess it's because I've been with Anya for so long that I kind of settled pretty quickly into what I wanted, and I super appreciated her doing that. Here I'm just adjusting some minor details here and there. You saw there like really quickly that I went to short sleeves for a second, but then I went back to the long sleeves. I am going to change those back for the specific reason that Serene, the main character, has a long overcoat that he wears at the beginning of the comic, and I just didn't want their silhouettes to clash too much with the long sleeves that Anya has, so I took them away. And Serene does like lose the overcoat eventually for lore reasons, but you know, still. In here I'm designing her shoes, and Anya is a competitive skater, as in she usually uses these inline skates, but I can really see her using really anything with wheels on it, or just like anything that goes fast really. And she uses these inline skates when going around in the city. I needed a way for her to get in and out of the skate mode easily, basically like the wheels. And in her previous designs, I had her just like straight up in the inline skates all the time, but I figured that has to be uncomfortable, so I wanted to switch it up. And so now it's like way easier to draw for me, not having to draw like the wheels in different angles. And I know that I said that I'm uploading this to Artfight, but the reference sheet is mostly for me because the likelihood of like a stranger seeing this reference sheet and thinking, oh, I want to draw this character is kind of low, you know? There's so many people on Artfight and so many characters that really like the probability of this being chosen over others is kind of like, you know. You saw that I drew an action pose there, and I was going to continue with it and like push it, but then I realized that if I did an action pose here, I was gonna have to do that with every other person I was gonna make a character sheet for, and like, you know, peace and love, I would absolutely do that if there wasn't like a deadline, you know, but the idea of doing that for every single person with like the time limit that I have now, it kind of made me like super tired. Like I was like, you know what, I love myself too much to do this to myself, so I'm just not going to. So I took it out. But if it were for like any other thing, like if I had like all the time in the world to work on it, I probably would have done the action pose because I like seeing my characters in action just to get more of a vibe down. I briefly considered giving her smaller glasses just because I thought it would be like cunty, you know? But I left Anya with the larger triangle glasses because I thought it just like fit her vibe better. You know, she has the energy to pull it off. Basically, I wanted her to exude a vibe of like, I'm cooler than you and I know it. And here I'm doing line art in quotation marks. And that's because I stopped doing clean line art because it was causing flare-ups in my hand, like pain flare-ups. And it's not even that like I draw wrong, like I know you're supposed to draw from your elbow and your shoulder, like of course I do that. But I've noticed that being too careful about line art and like fine details like that specifically, it really makes my wrist act up. So I've been trying to get more comfortable being messier in my art in general. And like, to be quite honest with you, I like the vibe it gives my art a lot more anyways. It reminds me of how I draw in like sketchbooks and stuff. Like I hate using pencil. Like my number one enemy, pencil. So I only draw on pen and there's no erasing that can happen there, and so it like gets messy and all that. It's great. I love it. I'm adding color here, and oh my god, color is like the bane of my existence. It's one of my weaker points in art for sure. And it doesn't help that like my tablet isn't like 100% calibrated for that either. And choosing colors for character design specifically really gets me, you know. It's hard trying to figure out what color combinations really work with each other, but also with the vibe of the character in general. Like I get the theory behind it, but actually doing it doesn't come as naturally to me. And I know that takes practice, as all things with art, but it's hard. I'm allowed to complain, you know, for my mental health. In a way, I figured out to try to get some help on that front is using gradient maps, which you see me doing here. And I like these, the ones that I like tested out. But you will see that I end up going with like one of the very first color combinations that I tried out and like one that I made myself. So that's actually like super embarrassing for me. Like that happens a lot. I doubt myself about like colors, and I wish I could just get it in one go and like be more confident in my choices, but one day, you know, like it will happen one day. And you see here, I like switch back to the short sleeves because I figured out I like to look better anyways. And here I'm like shading and adding highlights, and I'm not going like super crazy here, even though I would really like to, because again, I'm putting this on Artfight for people to use as reference, and like I said before, other people probably aren't going to see this, but if someone does, I don't want them to be like super confused about like my color choices, you know? So I kept it pretty minimal. I did leave one drawing with like the base colors, but you know, still. I'm using the markers I made in Clip Studio to color here. I love those markers. I just think they're so fun. Of course I made them, so like I have bias, but like whatever. Alright, I haven't talked about this yet, so I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about it here. Anya's magic comes up. You'll see like her straps from her belt floating a bit, and that's her magic. So her magic manifests as like a really saturated purple. She's able to manipulate objects as in their like size and their lengths and all that, and she uses the straps in fights and other things like that. And this type of magic usage is extremely uncommon in this world because it's really difficult to pull off. They have to keep in mind, one, the material of the object, two, how much material in the source object is at the person's disposal to be manipulated, three, how that material would realistically change shape or form for the original form that the object was in the first place, and you know, the list goes on. And that's really difficult to keep in mind all at once for a lot of people, like for most people. Added on to the fact that they have to keep all of that in mind while they actually focus on what they want their magic to do. So most people just like give up. They don't want to deal with that type of magic. So Anya's literally one of the only people in this world that can do it as successfully as she does for as long as she does. She's a baddie like that, you know. I'm messing with the format here, and I didn't include everything because at one point it was just really annoying to watch. Trust me, like, it was bad. And alright, this is the final sheet for Anya's character design that I'm going to be putting up on Artfight. You will notice that there is some time left in the video, and that is because I had another design I wanted to tackle for Anya. The other design I wanted to tackle is a dress that she wears at the very beginning of the comic. So, in the intro scene, Anya and two other members of the gang, including Serene, are sneaking into an anniversary ball that the royal family is having. There's been suspicious activity going on. They got intel that a guy who's been spotted a lot at the scenes might be there, and they want to interrogate him. They all need to look nice enough to blend into this crowd of rich, important people, but also Anya and the rest of the gang are, you know, comparatively poor. Anya does get money with her competitive skating and all that, but she's obviously not going to be on par as everyone else there. And so I needed her outfit to just fit that vibe and also fit her vibe specifically. And as far as I have planned, this intro scene is literally the only time this outfit is going to show up, so I could make it messy. This sheet is just for me. I didn't need to spend that much time on it. And I made her skirt like iridescent like just because I thought that looked nice, and I wanted to reflect the colors in the jacket there. I like the silhouette the boxy outerwear gave her compared to the other designs I was testing out before. And I did a back view for fun. Again, reference for me. So here are the final two sheets for Anya, and that is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. If you did, if you like made it all the way to the end of the video, that's crazy. But again, thank you so much. I'll probably be back with a video like soon-ish. I am a slow artist though, so like at the very least, if I don't upload these videos before Artfight actually starts, I'll still get the recordings for the redesigns and I'll upload them later on as I edit them. Also, I might even do more than one character in the next video. That's so exciting. Even I don't know what will happen. It's literally a journey for both of us. Isn't that beautiful? Like, alright. Other than that, I'm on Tumblr at Mitchmach. I'm on Blue Sky at Mitchmach. And I'm not really anywhere else. I'm not like a big social media person, so my bad. Feel free to check those pages out if you want, but like, if you don't, that's fine too. Like, whatever. Do whatever you want, you know. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a good day. Or if you already had your day, I hope it was a good one. Alright, take care.